Hi guys, I'm Mr. Karim Rashad and today I'm gonna talk about mole and the chemical calculations. But first, there is no relation between mole and molecule. When I say mole, I'm not talking about molecule. So mole, it's not an abbreviation of the word molecule. Molecule, something else. So let's get started. What do I mean when I say pair? Pair means two things. What do I mean when I say dozen? Dozen means 12 things. Also, what do I mean when I say mole? Mole means 602 hexillion things. So, pair refers to a certain number of things, which is 2. Dozen refers to certain number of things, which is 12. Also, mole refers to certain number of things, which is 602 hexillion things. And we can shorten or abbreviate this number to be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. So when I say mole, I'm talking about 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. For example, if I said, give me 1 mole of pens, I mean 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 pens. What do I mean when I say 1 mole of markers? I mean, give me 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 of markers. What do I mean when I say 1 mole of papers? Papers. I mean 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 of papers. Right? Okay. What do I mean when I say 1 mole of sugar? Oh, it's difficult to count the particles of sugar. 1 mole of salt. It's difficult to count the particles of salt. So, a great scientist appeared here and discovered that if we took the atomic mass or molecular mass in grams, then we got 1 mole. We got 1 mole. The atomic mass, or the atomic mass if we're talking about one element. Molecular mass if we're talking about a compound. For example, if you remember in middle, if I said sodium Na1123. 11 called atomic number, and the 23 called mass number or atomic mass. Actually, there is a little difference between them, but it's not our topic today. So, mass number equals atomic mass. Avogadro's, a scientist, said that if we took the atomic mass in grams, so now you have 1 mole, or now you have 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. The atomic mass here, if I said atomic mass of Na, it will be 23U. U or AMU, atomic mass unit. And Avogadro will take the same number of atomic mass but in grams. So it will be 23 grams. So now you have 1 mole. And if you count the number of particles or the number of molecules in 23 grams, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. Also, if we're talking about another element like oxygen, 8 and 16. The atomic mass of oxygen equals 16 unit or AMU, atomic mass unit. Avogadro said that if we took the atomic mass, the same number of atomic mass, but in grams, 16 grams, you will have 1 mole. If we count the number of particles or the number of molecules or the number of atoms in 16 grams, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. So we know that 1 mole equals the atomic mass of an element in grams, or the molecular mass of a compound in grams. Like if we wanted the atomic mass of nitrogen N714, it will be 14 units. And the mass of 1 mole, or we can call it molar mass. If we want 1 mole of nitrogen, we don't need to count 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. But Avogadro said just take the atomic mass in grams. Just take 14 grams. We do the same for sulfur. If we wanted the atomic mass, it will be 32 units. The mass of 1 mole or molar mass, it will be 32, but in grams. That means if we count the number of particles in 32 grams of sulfur, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. If we wanted the atomic mass of carbon, it will be 12 units. And if we want 1 mole of mass or mass of 1 mole or the molar mass, Avogadro said take the atomic mass 12 but in grams. That means if we count the number of particles or if we count the number of atoms in 12 grams of carbon, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. That's for elements. But what about compounds? Compounds like CO2, if we got the molecular mass is the sum of atomic masses. Just like this. Molecular mass here means carbon, it's a molecular mass, molecular mass 12 plus oxygen, we have 2 oxygen. So each one of oxygen equal 16 plus 16 or 12 plus 2 times 16, okay, equals 16 plus 16, 32. 32 plus 12, 44 grams. Okay, and if we count the number of particles in 44 grams, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23, as Avogadro said. SO2, each S, we have 1 S, each S be 32 plus 2 oxygen, 2 times 16. 32 plus 32 equal 64 unit or 64 grams if we're talking about 1 mole. And if we count the number of particles in or the number of molecules in 64 grams, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. And if we're talking about NaOH, in this case, the molecular mass called formula unit mass, okay, because NaOH is a ionic compound, okay, so we can classify the molecular mass for covalent compound, the molecular mass for covalent compounds, the atomic mass for elements, the formula unit mass for ionic compound, okay. Na equal 23 plus 1O 16 plus 1H equal 1. So we got 40 unit or 40 grams if we're talking about 1 mole. And if we count the number of particles, they will be 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. Okay, now we will make the rules used in solving problems. Okay, now you know that 1 mole of NaOH equals 40 gram or equal 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 particles. From this relation, we will make 2 rules. Rule number 1, 1 mole of NaOH equals 40 gram. So 40 gram, it's not any mass. No, it's a special mass. It's the mass of 1 mole. So we call it molar mass. So molar mass means the mass of 1 mole. But if I wanted 2 mole, it will be what, Lester? 1 mole equal 40 grams. So 2 mole equals 80 grams. Okay. Okay. But how many moles in 120 gram? How many moles in 120 gram? What will you do? 120 gram times 1 divided 40. So to get the number of moles equal 120 gram, it's a mass. It's any mass, given mass, total mass like 120 gram divided by the 40 gram اللي هم molar mass 40 gram. So 120 divided 40 gram, the result will be 3 mole. And this is the first rule. If you want number of moles equals mass divided by molar mass, and we can make the magic triangle mass here, and it's a given in the problem, and number of moles times molar mass. Molar mass, it's a calculated. Okay. This is the first rule. Let's move to the second rule. You know also that 1 mole equal 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. By the way, scientists called this number Avogadro's number. Scientists called this number Avogadro's number, trying to honor Avogadro. 3 mole, how many particles in 3 mole? You will make 3 times 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 divided 1 mole. So if you want the number of particles, and here particles means molecules or atoms or ions or anything. Number of particles equal number of moles times number of Avogadro, or Avogadro's number. Number of moles times Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. And we can make the second magic triangle. Number 1, here number of particles. Okay? And number of moles, 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. Now we will answer some problems depending on the first rule, then we will answer some problems depending on the second rule. Okay? Here we have 3 different problems with 3 different ideas. Problem number 1 says, calculate the number of moles of 126 gram of nitric acid, HNO3. If you know H equal 1, N equal 14, O equal 16. He wanted the number of moles. and he give you 126 gram. This is the given mass. Okay? And idea number 1 depends on this triangle. If you want the number of moles, hide it. Equal mass over molar mass. Number of moles equal mass, which is given in the problem, which is 126 gram, divided by molar mass. Molar mass, you will calculate it. Molar mass, Mr. Molar mass equals for HNO3. H ب1 plus N14 plus O3 يبقى 16 plus 16 plus 16 or 3 times 16 equals 63. This is the molar mass. So 126 divided by molar mass 63 equals 2 moles. Okay, so problem number 1 depend on the first triangle. It's a direct problem. He gave you the mass and you will calculate the molar mass to find number of moles. Here, problem number 2, calculate the number of molecules in 4 mole. Number of molecules, wallahi, if you want the number of molecules, hide it. Equal number of moles times 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. And number of moles equal, number of molecules equal number of moles times 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. And you know the number of moles. He gave you 4 mole times 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 molecule. Also, it's a direct problem. Okay, idea number 2 depend on triangle, this triangle. Okay, idea number 3, here we will use the 2 triangles together. Okay, for example, he wants calculate the number of molecules. We want this. In a sample contains 32 gram of SO2, sulfur dioxide. He wanted the number of molecules and he didn't give you the number of moles. So we will calculate it by this triangle. Number of moles equal mass divided molar mass. مديك عايز هو النمبر اوف بارتيكلز ومش معرفك خالص النمبر اوف مولز. زي هنا اداك النمبر اوف مولكيولز، عايز النمبر اوف مولكيولز ومديك النمبر اوف مولز. فاحنا عملنا 4 تايمز 6.02 تايمز 10 to the power 23. هنا هو عايز النمبر اوف مولكيولز ومش معرفك النمبر اوف مولز. فاحنا هنستخدم التراينجل الاولاني ده عشان نعرف النمبر اوف مولز. يبقى في ستيب زياده هنا. نمبر 1 number of moles equal mass divided molar mass. And yes, mass divided by molar mass. Mass equals, given in the problem, 32 gram divided by molar mass. Molar mass of SO2 equal S equal 32 plus O2 2 times 16. 2 times 16 32 plus 32 تطلع 64. يبقى 32 divided 64 equal 0.5 مول. انت دلوقتي جبت النمبر اوف مول. يلا بينا بقى نعملها تايمز 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 اهو. To know the number of particles or the number of molecules equal number of moles times 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. يعني يا مستر 0.5 times 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 mole. تاني اهو بسرعه. idea number 1 عايزه الفيرست تراينجل بس دايركت بروبلم. ايديا نمبر 2 عايزه السكند تراينجل بس دايركت بروبلم. ايديا نمبر 3 عايزه التو تراينجلز توجذر. اوكي